Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to take y'all through a little journey, as Tom said. In August of 2022, I've always maintained a CDL license, and in order to get your license renewed, you have to go in for a TxDOT physical. Went in that day and had the physical taken to make sure I didn't have any blood in my urine or anything like that, and I came no sugar in the urine. I'll take that back. But they did come back and they said, you might want to see your doctor because we found some microscopic blood cells in your urine. So at that time, I was my primary care was with Wellstone, which is part of Seton. I don't know if you want to hear this. Works better this way. Anyway, went into my primary care physician and told him that they wanted me to have a urinalysis done, and he came back and he confirmed. He said, yes, you do have blood in your urine. He said, you need to go see your urologist. So traipsed over to Wellstone and Seton in Harker Heights, went to see my urologist. He came back with the third finding that yes, you do have some blood in your urine. That was on August 29th of 2022. September 29th, 2022, they did a cystoscopy, hard for me to say. And they said that there were no visible signs that they could see of any kind of carcinoma. I had another unrelated procedure that was done. And in February 2023, they performed a washing of my kidneys. And in my right kidney, they found a malignancy. Normally, when you have blood that's identified in your urine, it's tied in with what's commonly referred to as bladder cancer. Mine was unique in the fact that I didn't have bladder cancer, only cancer in one of my kidneys, which is the right kidney. My urologist at the time over at Seton, he basically admitted he had reached the threshold as to his comfort zone as to how far he could take me, and he referred me over to Patrick Lowry at Baylor Scott & White over in Temple. Went in and saw Dr. Lowry, and he did some further testing and diagnosed me with urethral renal carcinoma in the right kidney, which is an aggressive form of cancer. But they caught it at a very early stage, even though it is aggressive. At that point in time, and let me tell you something, my rock through all this has been Connie. She has, I swear I think she could get a PhD in medicine. She has studied and looked at various websites. She's looked at the Mayo Clinic's website, the Cleveland Clinic website, MD Anderson, and she has been my rock through all of this. When they found the carcinoma, Dr. Lowry sat down with us, and we didn't know what our options were. Were they going to remove the kidney? Were they going to be able to try to do some type of treatments on it? And he came up and he told us about a type of treatment which is known as BCG, which is basically a type of vaccine that they inject into your right kidney. It's the same kind of vaccine that you get when you're a kid and you got that scar on your right shoulder. Well, as part of that vaccine, went in and had the first treatment of those, and I was scheduled to have 6 of those treatments. The first treatment I had made me sick as a dog. Put me in the hospital for 5 days up in Temple. Well, they ran every kind of test and they couldn't really find anything, although we did see some markers on a couple of the different areas of the blood test. But we were basically assured that it didn't have anything to do with the BCG treatments. A week later, went back and I had the second treatment, had no problems, no side effects from it. A week later, had the third treatment, no problems, everything was going fine on it. Then a week later, had the fourth treatment. Came home from it, felt fine, and that was on a Thursday. On Friday, I was just as sick as I could be. I went to work, went to Land Passes. I remember doing some work over there, and I came home and I told Connie, I said, I just do not feel right. Something's wrong. It felt like I had an elephant sitting on my chest. I just couldn't breathe. Ended up going back to the doctor, had some questions, and we were basically told that, well, we didn't get a response. And then when we finally did get a response, we were told that, well, the BCG treatment, this has nothing to do with the BCG treatment. And we were kind of thrown out in the left field as to, well, what's wrong with me? Bouncing ahead into June, we always take our grandkids someplace every year, normally to the coast, and we had a split ration with the kids this year. And the first weekend we took them down to the coast, and the following weekend we took them down to ConCan, or CanCon, down north of Uvalde. And the door flew open. Luckily, throughout this process, we had made an appointment with MD Anderson for about a month out. And during those two weekends that we were with our the grandkids, I was just basically a ride-along because I was sick. I didn't feel like doing anything. Most of the time I just sat around or slept. I couldn't eat. Something was going wrong. And essentially in 1 month's time I lost 54 pounds. And was just very, very weak. You know, and Connie was there this whole time to keep my strength up. Everybody in this church was praying for me, and I felt those prayers, and I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Ended up going down to MD Anderson on July the 24th, and I was so weak after we met with Dr. Mateen in urology. Mateen could see how sick I was, and we had originally set this appointment to deal with the cancer in my right kidney. He basically said, we're not even going to worry about that right now because we've got to get you well. Because I was not well. I was sick. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital down there. And one thing I can say, MD Anderson is, they're often recognized for exceptional medical care for several reasons. From the time that I was put into the hospital, we probably had 5, maybe 6 different teams that worked together. And I mean, they really worked together. I've never experienced medical care to the extent that MD Anderson provided to Connie and I. Every question that we had, they had a question. And they ran test after test after test. From infectious disease to internal medicine to urology. There's so many fields that were trying to take care of me, and I was so weak. I can often remember, you know, the doctor would come in and they would say, when did you notice this, or when did you notice that? Every time I would just look over to Connie, who was sitting on my right, and I'd say, ask her. Because Connie, like I say, she's my rock. She studied everything. every time they had a question, she had an answer. MD Anderson specializes exclusively in cancer care, and allowing them to focus their expertise and resources on treating cancer comprehensively is something like I've never seen before. They've got world-class experts. I also remember once we came back to Temple, I had a follow-up appointment with my urologist that started the BCG treatments at Temple, Scott White and Temple. And I mentioned to him that, we had canceled a couple of appointments with him because I've been having different appointments back with MD Anderson, go down for testing and all that. And when I mentioned the name of Dr. Mateen to Patrick Lowry at Scott and White, he said, "Oh, I know Dr. Mateen. He's recognized as one of the foremost authorities in the United States regarding any type of urology or kidney cancers or bladder cancer." MD Anderson, they're at the forefront of cancer research. They pioneered new treatments, and the therapies that the patients can receive are explained and are given. Every time we'd have a new test result that would come up, like I say, we had a team of maybe 5 or 6 different doctors. These people meet every day, sometimes twice a day, in conference rooms. And they discuss thoroughly what one team is seeing to the other. There's nothing left out. There's nothing that falls through the cracks. One of the things that I would encourage anybody to do, especially if they've been diagnosed with some type of cancer, is go to MD Anderson and trust them. We're very fortunate that this was caught early. They place a tremendous amount of emphasis on patient support. If you could look at my inbox on Gmail, you will see countless numbers of emails that I get from MD Anderson. And everybody knows what my chart is if you've been involved with Scott and White or over at Seton. All of these results are tied in and shared with Advent, with Seton, with Scott and White, and with MD Anderson. So everybody can now see what's going on. MD Anderson, the supportive care that I'm getting from them is beyond belief. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm basically at a plateau right now, feeling a lot better, although I'm still having some other symptoms that have come up with lower back pain and hip pain, and which we're still trying to address and get that figured out. But this coming weekend, we will not be here on that Sunday, but hopefully we'll be Zooming in to see everyone. We'll be down there for 3 days, and I'm going to have 3 days of testing. And one of those days, they're going to do some washing again on the right kidney to try to see if the BCG treatments did any good. If they did work, that'll be a blessing. But to also address the cause of the pain that I'm in all the time now. So, and Dave's not doing very well right now, and he's also getting some care from MD Anderson. But one thing I'd like to do, I'd like to ask everybody to keep Dave in your prayers. He's a fine, outstanding Christian man, and he does need our prayers. I want to thank everybody again. My faith and my church mean the world to me. But the most important person that means the world to me right now is Connie, my wife, because she is, if not for her, I wouldn't be here. So that's my testimony.